Tekking Intoxication Tumble! Hey guys, what's going on with you? No, actually, intoxication in the sense of the aspect of death that Zommari embodies, I think has more to deal with intoxication on an ideal rather than intoxication on like an actual physical substance, like alcohol or something. No, because it's more like Zommari views Aizen as like his savior, his benefactor, nay, like his Christ figure, where the last moments of his life he spends praising the glory of Aizen-sama! Hooray for Aizen! Sama before he just he dies at the hands of Byakuya. So yeah, I think that's what that reveals from Zommari's side of things, that if you have a dependency on a particular ideal, you can end up being controlled by said ideal, sort of like an intoxication in that sense. Okay, so today we're talking about Espada number 7, Septima Espada, Zommari Rureaux. Zommari. Probably gonna use both here. You gotta give it to Zommari. He just shows up, he does his thing, Byakuya and him have some witty banter, Byakuya kills him, and that's about it. But hey, he hits all the major points. He shows up, he's like, I am the Septima Espada, Zommari Rureaux, my specialty is Sonido, my resurrection is Brujeria, it means witchcraft in Spanish, it's subside Brujeria, I can transform into this pumpkin-looking thing, I control people with the eyes, and then, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm about. He hits all the marks there. We don't get to find out where his Espada tattoo is. I don't think we find out where that is, although it was revealed in the Bleach Unmasked data book. I'm sure you're very interested to know where Zommari's hollow hole was located, and it's located in his right nipple. That's right. That's right. So only if Byakuya would have we got that really cool scene with Noitara where Kenpachi ran Nozarashi right through Noitara's eyeball or his eye patch, and it was like, actually, it's just a hole. That would have been really funny if Byakuya would have tried to stab Zenbone Sakura right through Zommari's, right pectoral muscle here. Just like, ha-ha! Captain, you do not understand. I have a hole in my nipple. You hollows are weird, indeed. But yeah, suffice to say, he has the least amount of screen time out of any of the Espada. You can really maybe see that Kubo, intended, what he was going to do, but he didn't really have a bigger picture for him, so Kubo was like, alright, yeah, I had to make 10 Espada, and Zommari's kind of the one that gets the short stick in that regard, where he's like, I know what he's gonna do, and he's gonna fight Byakuya, but not really gonna do much beyond that. But let's go into what little we got from him, okay? First off, rather interesting design. I really like the earrings. He has the skull and bone earrings, so Zommari could very well be a pirate. Maybe he died and then got reincarnated in the One Piece world in some place. I really like he has like the skeleton jewelry all around him, basically kind of like his hollow mask takes the form of that jewelry, and he's got like the spikes on top of his head, and he's got the jewelry, he's got the necklace and everything like that, so that's pretty cool. And his Zanpakuto itself looks really neat. It has this super thick guard with these spikes jutting out of it. I'm like, alright, that looks pretty cool. As I said earlier, his specialty is Sonido, which is the high-speed movement technique of the Espada. However, even with that, we really didn't get to see too much of it. We got to see him use his special technique, Hemulus Sonido, which allows him to move so fast, it basically creates like an after image, and the after image is like solid to a point, so it can actually hold things and punch people and stuff, and it lasts for a couple of seconds, probably like 10-20 seconds before it disappears. So it's an after image that has some, maybe he uses his Ryatsu to kind of compress it together to have actually can interact with the world around him. But Byakuya is also really fast too, and so Byakuya was able to outstep him using that cicada technique, that Utsusemi technique that Yoruichi taught him, where Zommari goes to stab Byakuya and then he dodges it and he's like, well, I have the Hemulus Sonido, so I will stab you instead with my clone. And then Byakuya's like, well, I actually have this technique taught to me by a busty girl that can shoot lightning from her hands. You're pretty much out of luck right here. And so he uses the cicada technique to get his Captain Hayori off, and so Zommari just stabs that and he sheds his cloak and he's like, that was my special technique. So him and Byakuya, they have some banter back and forth where it's Byakuya, so he doesn't usually tend to get overly excited, and Zommari also doesn't get overly excited up until the very end of the battle. Probably the very end of it. I'll be straight up, Byakuya could have defeated him in 1 second if he wanted to, because it was made very abundantly clear the second Byakuya released his Bankai, Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi, Zommari was screwed. He was dead. There was nothing he could do to prevent that, right? As we'll soon see when I explain his power. So Byakuya could have easily just, like, walked right up to him, Bankai, and then called it a day. You know, so honestly, the most interesting part of the fight for me is the final words that Zommari shares when he already knows he's got the dead to rights. You know, he already knows that he's dead. He already knows that Byakuya is going to finish him off. You know, so he just has that last speech. So we'll get to that. Yeah, so Byakuya at first, he's like, oh, you're very arrogant. Zommari's like, oh, you are very arrogant, Captain. No, you are very arrogant. I'll show you who the arrogant one is. It's just like a back and forth. I was watching this episode earlier today on YouTube, just as like a quick recap of everything, and I saw a comment on the video, and I found it hilarious and extremely accurate. It was like, this is basically the longest, you know, I know you are, but what am I fight in all of anime, and I love it. It's just great, okay? So, Zommari, he does the Hemulus Sonido thing for a little bit, but then when he figures out, like, oh, great, you know, you can also kind of move really fast. All right, then my one defining character trait is kind of in danger of being, you know, taken over. Oh, okay, well, I have this power. Check this out. Now, I'll give it to Zommari, and I don't know if this is, you know, Kubo intended this a long time ago, or maybe Kubo was like, well, I'm not really giving Zommari much to work with, so I will give him probably the most unique release of any of the Espada. You know, some of the Espada have really weird releases, you know, like, Szayel basically eats his Zanpakuto in a very, very lustful, very, lewd kind of way. Like, ooh, can we get some Szayel lewds? Oh, yeah. Sip for Narikaris. You know, Stark merges with a lolly. They're a little weird, but Zommari's kind of takes the cake on this one, alright? So, his Zanpakuto is Brujeria, which means witchcraft in Spanish. He takes his Zanpakuto, he lays it horizontal in front of him, then he slowly lets go of the hilt, and the sword is just floating in front of him, and then he clasps his hands together like he's praying, then his entire head basically, you know, twists and contorts until his head is horizontal on his neck, you know, in line with his Zanpakuto that's still floating in front of him. Then the sword begins to contort, like the blade and the hilt and the guard, they all just kind of like kind of bend into each other. By the way, there's sound effects accompanying all of this. So when he, like, takes his head and just, you hear, like, bones cracking and muscles tearing and, like, and then this weird white gooey substance, kind of looks like clay, billows out from the sword, completely covers his body, and then it subsides, creating this. The lower half of Zommari's body is now, for lack of a better term, it's a pumpkin, covered in eyeballs, and then his upper body is also covered in eyeballs, and, yeah, that's what we got there. He's got eyes on the palms of his hands, eyes on his body. He's got, like, this skull necklace he's wearing, and there's also eyes on the skull, and we later find out that there's 8 other hidden eyeballs, kind of like there's, like, lines on his forehead, and those can open up, revealing more eyes. Later on, Byakuya, who, I guess, really adept kind of fighter, he counted every single eye on Zommari's body, really quick with that mental math. He's like, okay, and he counted 50 eyes on his body, plus the 8 hidden ones that he reveals later at the very end of the fight, so 58 eyes on the body total. And using these eyes, he can activate the ability of Amor, or love. And what kind of love are we talking here? Well, it's the kind of, forceful love. It's the love that, you know, you don't really get a say in. It's the kind of love where he activates it. Really cool, admittedly pretty sick tattoos appear on your body, depending on which area he's targeting with his Amor. One of the eyeballs on his body, it could be any eyeball, it could be his actual eyes, it could be the eyes on the skull necklace, it could be the eyes on his body or on the pumpkin. The irises kind of like whoosh, increase in size, they kind of like dilate like big time, like you are kind of intoxicated, like whoosh, whoa. And then part of the enemy's body, it doesn't necessarily have to be a human or a Shinigami, it could be inanimate objects as well, get these really cool tattoos. And wherever the tattoo is located, Zommari now takes control of that particular individual, or the body part, or the object, okay? So that's the power. Now, This is a really weird fight. Because there's a few things throughout it that are a little inconsistent. Case in point, Zommari states that, when he first activates the power, he's like, everything in this world is subjugated to control by something else. And when I control parts of your body, the brain no longer controls those parts, I do. So he first takes control of, I believe it's Byakuya's foot, his left foot. And so Byakuya no longer has control over his foot, and Zommari can, command it to be like, take one step closer, foot. And then the foot will start to, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, Byakuya, being Byakuya, is like, okay. He takes out his sword and just slashes the tendons on his leg like that. And no longer does Zommari have control over it. So Zommari even states this, he's like, you have sliced the tendons leading to your foot. I therefore have no control over it. Later on, though, in the exact same fight, he uses this power on Rukia. Rukia was passed out on the floor. This fight takes place in the same room that Rukia fought Arañero. And so it's covered in ice from when Rukia used her San no Mai, but she's passed out from the attack because she got, ran through by Nejibana, so she's still passed out. So she's got a gaping wound in her body that's probably just frozen up to keep her from bleeding out, but she's passed out in this entire fight. Zommari uses Amor to take control of her head because he states that, if I take control of an arm, I can only control that arm, but if I take control of the head, or the brain to be more specific, I can control the entire body, and injuries do not matter. So do injuries matter, or do they not matter? Because when he takes control of one of Byakuya's arms, all he has to do is, slice the muscles and the tendons, and then, okay, you can't control my arm anymore. Alright, but when he controls Rukia, it's like a straight-up puppet. I can control her, I can move her around, I can take her sword out, and I can attack Byakuya or slice down Hanataro. I can do all of that, right? Regardless of the injuries. It's a little weird. Also, it's just a little weird that you would even have that stipulation. All you have to do to, this is supposed to be, a magic power. I originally assumed it, this is, magic, and even later on, Byakuya likens it to Kido. He's like, that's a very similar to our Kido, which is cool, because, we didn't really see, Hollows can use their Ryatsu to power things like their Seros or their Bala, and they can do things similar to Shinigami, like the Sonido and stuff. There's a few other Hollows that have, weird abilities, like Baragon's Respira and stuff, but I think Zommari was the one that had closest to, Kido-like abilities with his Resurrection power, so that was pretty neat. But my point is, if you're using magical powers here, like witchcraft, you'd think it would be I take control of your limb and I'm moving your limb with my magical power. It doesn't matter if your tendons are coming to it. It doesn't matter if you sliced your muscles or your bone. I'm moving it with magic power. Maybe something similar to the Quincy's Ranso Tengai, which is like Ranso Tengai is making threads of Ryatsu or Reishi, and you're moving your body parts with that. I thought that's what this was similar to, but it's wow, that's actually kind of a really shitty power. I'm being honest with you. You can only control one place at a time. Granted, you got 50-something eyes on your body, but still, you'd think, it would be a lot cooler if you get, whatever you target with your Amor, whatever, appears, it doesn't matter where on your body, you control that entire body, and you don't control it limited to the injuries of the person, you control them like a puppet. That would be cool, although maybe if he had that power, the fight would be over immediately as soon as he takes control of Byakuya, so it couldn't be that overpowered, okay? But it's just a little inconsistent, because with Byakuya, all he has to do is sever the tendons, and they don't work anymore. But with Rukia, who's unconscious with a giant gaping chest wound, oh yeah, I control her, no problem. I can move her around like a puppet, like it's nothing. Maybe it's because she was unconscious, maybe that's the difference, if you're unconscious, I can control you like a puppet, but since you are conscious, I need to take control of your individual limbs. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, the fight doesn't really continue on much longer than that. I mean, he takes control of Byakuya's left leg, he slices that, takes control of his left arm, he slices that, takes control of Rukia to try to fight against Byakuya. Byakuya just uses Rika Jokoro to lock Rukia into place because Zommari resorts to the hostage issue. He's just don't move, I can use my power to, hold her sword to her throat, and so if you move any closer, I'll slice her, and she'll die. And so Byakuya's Rika Jokoro, okay, locked into place, and just oh, my Amor is useless, I cannot move! I'm oh god, Zommari, you really didn't test this power out much, did you? Okay, I'm editing this right now, and I didn't even realize when I made the video, but I have to bring this up, because this just blows my mind. Zommari could have easily defeated Byakuya as soon as he released his Resurrection. Like that. He could have. Because the first thing he does is he activates his Amor, Byakuya Shunpos away, but the eyes still affect him. So it's shown that, like, at least the speed of him activating his Amor and causing the tattoo to appear on a target, that's pretty damn instantaneous. Like, to the point where even if you Shumpo out of the way of the line of sight, it still hits you. And he's shown to be able to activate multiple eyes at once. He activates all 50 when the Bankai is activated, and that's like his full power. So let me ask you a serious question. If anybody can give me a good explanation for this, other than just Kubo didn't think of it, or like, oh, the fight would have been over too quickly, or whatever. But as soon as you go Resurrection, even if only one eye can control one limb or one appendage, go into your Resurrection, activate, like, just, honestly, just 5. Just 5 eyes. 2 for your arms, 2 for Byakuya's legs, 1 for his head. The fight's over! Like, even if you want to say the only reason he can control Rukia from the head was because she was unconscious, maybe it wouldn't work on Byakuya if he just, you could just ask, like, why did he target Byakuya's foot? Why did he target Byakuya's arm? Why didn't he just target Byakuya's head? If that's all he needs is to target the head to control the whole body, why would you not aim for the head? But okay, alright, fine, let's say you have to be unconscious for that. Even so, it doesn't matter. You could just target his arms and his legs. He can't move then. And his torso or his mouth, so he can't use Keto. He can't recite Keto incantations. Like, oh my god, like, I just realized this just now. I'm like, Zommari was kind of an idiot. Like, if you really think about it, like, wow, he seems like the kind of villain that's just like, I really, really, really want to explain how my power works to my opponent. You know, like, I have this really cool power, I can control anything I want with my eyes, I just want to explain it to people, I don't want to end the fight right away, but even that is kind of contradictory, because at the end of the fight, you have him praising Aizen like he's his god. Why would he not obey his god's wishes? Like, Aizen was like, you know, eliminate the intruders, I want them gone. You know, Zommari should be following that more dutifully than any of the other Espadas. He should be viewing it like Hueco Mundo and Las Noches are like the sacred temple to Aizen, and these Shinigami bastards are coming in here to, like, wipe us all out. Like, I need to eliminate them post-haste immediately in honor of our deity, Lord Aizen. Like, that should be, like, his main goal. But no, he's like, I will activate my Amor, and then I will give you this long-winded explanation that everything is subjugated. The king controls the peasants. You know, like the subordinates are controlled by the boss. This is how things work. The brain controls the legs. I'm like, dude, just shut up. Activate your eyes. Take control of his body. Game over. You win. That's it. Or make him take his sword and just, you know, it's over, right? Oh my god. Okay. Well, anyway, back to it, but I just wanted to bring that up because nobody else did. God. And then Byakuya's like, you get the impression he's not even, like, afraid of Zommari, or he's not intimidated at all by his power. Byakuya sees what he can do, and he's just like, is that all? So, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight here, man. So, you can use each individual eye to control one body part. Yes, that is the power of my Amor. Okay, so I just want to make sure you're being 100% legit with me right now. You're shooting me straight here. One eye for one object. Yes, that is the ultimate power of my Amor. Okay. Because, I hope you got something up your sleeve, honestly, because you're kind of screwed otherwise. I do not need anything else for... yeah, you have your Amor. Okay. Senbon Sakura Kagayoshi. How many of those are there? About, 1, 2, 3, 4, 700 million. That's how the fight went. It's just like, honestly, the funniest thing, Byakuya didn't even need to use his Bankai. You know how many blades are in his Bankai? It's actually not exact. It's like a couple 100 million. But do you know how many blades are in his Shikai? The little cherry blossoms he creates that are like little tiny razor blades. 1,000. Which is even greater than 50 or 58 or whatever his maximum number is. It could be 100. Who cares? Doesn't matter. So, Byakuya just went overkill on that dude. And you know, I feel like because at the beginning of the fight, when he's doing the Hemulus Sonido and he's like slicing and attacking and he's using the Amor, Byakuya does not use his Shikai or his Bankai at all. He's kind of just letting Zommari do it. Like, he feels sorry for him a little bit. Like, well, I'm gonna at least give him some, like, I at least want to see what he can do. This is all he can do? Alright, I'm not even gonna use my Shikai. But then, he took control of Rukia and had, you know, her, like, in a hostage situation. That's what pissed Byakuya off. That was like, alright, I was just gonna use my Shikai, because honestly, I think that would have been good enough to slice you. But yeah, you're getting the Bankai treatment now. Congratulations. Scatter. Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi. And then you have the flip of that, because, like, Zommari was like, you are arrogant, Captain. You are the height of arrogance itself. And Byakuya just basically flips the script on him, and he's just like, you earlier you said that this was arrogance on my part. Earlier you said it was pointless to resist. Well, I'm gonna offer you the same piece of advice now. Honestly, just lay back and just let the Senbone razor blades take you over. And you have this one last ditch effort from Zommari where this is where he starts to break his, like, cool stoic nature. This is when he starts freaking out. He's like, no, my power is absolute! I can control 50 objects at once! You can't stop my ultimate power! I will control everything with every last piece of Amor in my spirit! Move as I command! And he activates all of his eyes go wide as saucers, like, the eyes on his neck, and like his actual eyes go, whoa, dude! And like, oh! And in the anime, you actually do get to see one or two of the Sakura petals, like, stop in air, like he is controlling them. But it's like, oh, wait, did I do it? Yeah, sure, buddy, you did it. Go-kei, Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. Oh! And then Byakuya just makes, like, I think it's like the massacre sphere or something. It's like the slaughter bell or whatever it's called. He just takes all those blades and compresses them into a sphere and just shreds you, and then you're done, and he blows up the building on his way out. So Zommari did not die, though. He has a secret. He did have another technique. Not really a combat technique, but he did have one last technique. It was not named in the anime or in the manga. It's called El Embrion, which just means the embryo in Spanish. He literally hides in his pumpkin. He has the pumpkin on the lower half of his body. He just and he just like glorps himself into the pumpkin. And the pumpkin is pretty damn durable. It blocks a lot of the attacks. He's still bleeding quite a bit when he pops out of it, and all his eyeballs are shredded by the razor blades. But he gets out and he's like, I'm still here. You can't stop me! And then that's when he reveals the 8 hidden eyeballs on his head, but at that point it doesn't matter. Byakuya doesn't even need to keep using his Zanpakuto. He just uses Danku. He uses Bakudo number 81, Danku, which creates that, like, it's like that clear, like, piece of glass. It's like a barrier that blocks and shuns any Hado upwards of, like, 89. And so he uses that, and he blocks the Amor tattoos with that power, because he's like, I've been watching you for a while. I can see your power is very similar to that of Kido, so I figured I can block it. If yours like an offensive Kido like a Hado, I should probably be able to block it with a defensive Kido, which is a Bakudo, and this is like the highest ranked, like one of the highest ranked Bakudos that I know, so you're not getting through this barrier, you're stopping, and he keeps trying to, like, control the barrier, and it's not working at all. And so at that point he realizes that he's pretty much screwed. So Zommari's his death monologue, probably not as cool as, like, Mayori's, speech, about perfection to Szayel, but which happened in, like, 2 episodes later. But still, this is a pretty good one. He's talking about how the whole nature of things. He's basically talking philosophy with Byakuya. And he's like, well, I choose to end this by talking about philosophy. Byakuya's like, alright, I guess, sure. Honestly, Byakuya is one of the, I mean, like, if this was Kenpachi, he wouldn't even let you get 2 words out, you'd just be hacked up into mincemeat, but okay. At least Byakuya will take the time to listen to your philosophical stances here. So, Zommari goes on this thing, he's, like, questioning the nature of existence. He's just like, how come you guys are here? How come you Shinigami are here in our dimension, Hueco This is where the Hollows live. How come you're here slaughtering us? How come you are defending the humans? Why are you doing that? Oh, is it because Hollows eat human souls? Yes, we eat human souls to survive. But that's just naturally how we are. We were born with that. We literally need to eat human souls or we die. So no shit. Sherlock, we ended up eating human souls. My question for you is, why are Shinigami protecting the humans? Who gave you that job? You were not ordained with that. You were not born with, like, oh, I must protect humans at all costs. That was not your prerogative. Basically Zommari was making the argument, like, we can't help being what we are. Because it's something carnal. It's something like literally like your hunger. It's like we need to eat human, souls to exist. If we don't, we die. All right. So it's like you're gonna keep doing that. But yours was a choice to defend the humans, to slaughter all hollows, just brand us as evil just because we eat humans. That was your choice. And who gave that? Was it God? No, you don't have a God. And so Byakuya is just like listening to him very, very politely, just formulating his response here. And then Zommari finally gets done with his little rant and his little tirade, and he's like, yeah, so what do you think about that, huh? And the Byakuya's like, you understand, the reason I'm killing you is not because you're a hollow and I'm a Shinigami. The reason I'm killing you is because you stuck your blade at my little sister's throat. Oh, she was your little sister? And that's how it ended. He does say something cooler. Byakuya is like, the reason I'm killing you, it's not because you're a hollow and I'm a Shinigami. It's not because I was ordained by God. It's not because I was given orders to kill or defend humans. The reason I'm killing you is because you pointed your blade at my only pride. My only pride being Rukia, which Rukia wasn't conscious at the moment, but if she was, she probably would have been like, oh, big brother, oh my god, you do care about me. But she was unconscious at the time. So, yeah, that's a great rebuttal to that. I love it, because, like, Zommari's trying to be all philosophical, trying to save his own skin, I think, a little bit there, trying to be like, maybe if I can make this captain question the nature, like, have an existential crisis right in front of me, then maybe he'll just let me go. Fun fact, that actually happened to my group when we were playing D&D once. I want to do a minor tangent, because we're pretty much done with Zommari already. Alright, so we were actually in Sigil. We were actually in the city of Sigil. And if you know what that is, you know what that is from Planescape. And our DM had us running through town, doing a bunch of stuff with these various gangs and stuff, fighting against, like, rival gangs and stuff in the city. But there was this one guy that was supposed to be, like, the badass, like, final of this campaign, right? And he kept wandering around the city. Sometimes he would help us. Sometimes he would just be standing there. This really big, imposing dude, super, super goth, covered in black armor and, like, spikes, and, like, he had a cool face mask, and he was like, I'm really strong. I'm gonna fight you guys at some point. So we keep running into the dude, and then finally, at the end of the campaign, we're escaping the hideout, and we're like, okay, we're good, we got away. And then he shows up to block us, and we're like, alright guys, get ready, we're gonna fight. But before we get into a fight, our fighter walks up to him and basically just hands him a flower and is just like, why are you fighting us? Why do you have to fight? And I can't remember all of the dialogue that she said, but the DM's sitting there like, how would he respond to this kind of line of like questions like, it's like, don't you think you could be doing better stuff around here? Like, why do you have to kill us? Like, we didn't even do anything to you. Why are we even doing this? And he like rolls some stuff. I'm like, give me, okay, give me a persuasion. Okay, I'm gonna roll this. I'm like, I think he might have crit failed or something, because the DM rolls and he looks at it and he's like, he just warps away right in front of you. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's how it went. I'm like, all right, well, fine, yeah, okay. So, I like that. Like, that's what Zommari's trying to do. Like, I'm trying to give Byakuya, like, question his own existence. Like, you know what? I think you're right, random Espada. I think I am gonna let you go. Man, I need to question some things. But no, Byakuya's like, yeah, you pointed your blade at my little sis. I'm not gonna take that standing down. Slice, you're done. And then that's the end of Zommari. That's the end of the Septima Espada. May he rest in peace, I guess. And like I said, the last words he does have is when he realizes he can't, like, Byakuya appears right next to him with the blade at his throat, and he's like, okay, this is it, you're gonna die in like 2 seconds. He's like, hooray! Bonsai for Aizen-sama! Bonsai! And then Byakuya just cuts him. And so that was the end there. So yeah, I honestly really equate his aspect of death, intoxication. In the English, they change it to ecstasy, I think. But I think intoxication works better in this sense than the original translation. I really relate it to like a cult sort of deal. Like he has like a cult personality where he started to follow Aizen, thinking of him like literally a god figure, not just a really strong Shinigami, not just somebody that's gonna like be the king of Huecamundo. No, he literally viewed Aizen as like his Christ figure. Like, you are my savior, Aizen-sama. And even more so than like Stark. Like, Stark was thankful for Aizen, he was indebted to him, but he didn't view him to that level. He didn't like deify Aizen. Zommari deified Aizen. So I equated a lot to like those like the Jonestown cult, or like the Heaven's Gate cult or something, where you have people that just mindlessly follow a master, and you just like start to lose your own sense of individuality, and you just basically end up doing whatever they desire of you, even if it results in your own death. That's kind of what I view the aspect of death for Zommari there. But yeah, we got the Can't Fear Your Own World artwork, which looks pretty damn cool. This actually looks awesome, and it gives him a new ability called Brujeria Gobernante, which means witchcraft ruler. Okay, so witchcraft ruler allows him to control other things like plants and stuff. He can control plant life around him, and I'm like, okay, alright, that's definitely an upgrade. He also has the little skulls that float around him, sort of like little mini drones, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, because then you can use those skulls. You don't have to use the eyeballs on your own body. You can have the skulls float around the battlefield, and you can control things that are outside of your line of sight. Like you understand all that really Byakuya had to do in order to hide from the Amor is just like, if there was like a rock or something, just hide behind the rock. They were fighting in a room that was really wide open and there was nothing to hide behind, but, you know, Byakuya did the Danku, or if there was a pillar or a rock, he could just hide behind the pillar. Yeah, Zommari has 50 eyes on his body, but they're still limited to his body, so if he hides behind something, it's beyond the field of vision. It's beyond the field of vision, right? So, yeah, I'm hopefully in this new form, in this second resurrection, he can use these little skulls to, like, float around the battlefield and control you. Hopefully the tattoos get an upgrade, so it's like, if a tattoo hits you, it's not just your arm or your leg, it, like, takes over your entire body like a zombie. Or beyond that, like, okay, bare minimum, when the tattoo hits your arm, it's controlled by magic. It's not limited by your bones or your muscular system, okay? So slicing that off wouldn't matter. Even if you, like, took a sword and just sliced off your entire arm, the arm would still float in the air and be manipulated by the Amor tattoo. That would actually have been so cool to see if Byakuya's like, whoa. Because you have Orihime. Orihime can heal any wound, even if you lose an arm. So you could have had Byakuya slice his damn arm off and had Orihime heal it later, and the arm falls to the ground, and Zommari's like, and he lifts up the arm, and the arm is like, starts attacking, like, you know, starts doing that to Byakuya. That would have been cool to see, but we didn't get that. We didn't get that, so, okay. But anyway, that's Zommari, 7th Espada. He, alongside Stark, is the only Espada to not get a Tankobon, so Stark and Zommari, I guess, maybe also Aranjero, but if you include Kai and Shiba, then he counts too, so yeah, at that point, yeah, that's the no Tankobon cover club. Sorry, guys. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go get yourself a pumpkin and share the Amor. Tekking signing out. Later, everybody. By the way, yeah, Barry was controlling me this entire... Barry, what are you doing, Barry? Barry, stop! Barry, no! Barry, no! Did you guys notice the one little eye that looks different from the other ones? I was making all of these today, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make one a little different. And I made the Eye of Horus from, well, it's from Egyptian mythology, but obviously I based it off the one from Yu-Gi-Oh! From the one on the Millennium Items, so yeah. If you noticed that before I mentioned it just now, good job, congratulations.